Jeff Zucker, the president of CNN, is out, terminated, forced to resign, exiting the building. Why? Well, he couldn't keep it in his pants. At this point, it seems like a lot of people at CNN, they're either victims of sexual predation or predators themselves. It's just nuts. It's shameful. I've got a lot of friends at that network. I think very highly of a lot of the anchors, but this is crazy. And it is so much of a soap opera. It is the days of our lives. The young and the old and the decrepit, but nonetheless. So Andrew Cuomo was the governor of New York. His brother Chris was the nightly anchor on CNN, who was having Andrew Cuomo on television while Andrew Cuomo was letting old people die in nursing homes and was being a sexual predator. Andrew Cuomo's assistant gets hired by Jeff Zucker at CNN during this time to come be the chief of marketing for CNN. Then Andrew Cuomo goes away from CNN, and it turns out that he is a sexual predator of some sort, and Chris Cuomo was doing damage control for him. While this is going on, Jeff Zucker begins an affair with the former Andrew Cuomo staffer, who's now not only the head of marketing, but NBC News is speculating will be Jeff Zucker's heir apparent at CNN. This is discovered when they begin to investigate Chris Cuomo, who it turned out was still helping his brother despite saying he wasn't. So CNN spent all of 2020 claiming that Andrew Cuomo was the greatest thing ever and the perfect juxtaposition to Donald Trump while he was being sexually predatory. Chris Cuomo is covering for him and helping him do damage control. Jeff Zucker is having an affair with the woman out of Cuomo's office who he's brought to CNN. And then Chris Cuomo gets fired when it turns out he's been having an affair, and now Zucker's out for the same thing. These are the days of our lives. My gosh, it's a soap opera. Now, let's be real honest here with a couple of things. Jeff Zucker could have managed this and stayed on the job if the ratings were up. You can get away with a lot in entertainment if the ratings are up, but the ratings are down badly at CNN. And AT&T, the parent company of Warner, which is the parent company of Time, which is the parent company of Turner, which is the parent company of CNN, is a subsidiary of a subsidiary of a subsidiary. They are selling Turner and CNN to, Liberty Media or whichever group owns the Discovery Channel. And I think it's John Malone is involved in that company. He's a very news-oriented type. And it has apparently alleged to a number of people that Zucker would be going anyway, that he doesn't like the news that CNN is doing. They're trying too much to be MSNBC light. This has been out in a number of publications. Whether it's true or not, it's the rumor that's been out there. But there's a larger story. There are several larger stories here. Let me deal with the first one very easily. Yesterday on CNN, I played you this audio of Brian Stelter, the media critic for CNN. You hear Joe Rogan, and then you hear this.
The narrative is, I want to show all kinds of opinions.
Which sounds great, but not all opinions are created equal. You think about major newsrooms like CNN that have health departments and desks and operations that work hard on verifying information on COVID-19. And then you have talk show stars like Joe Rogan who just wing it, who make it up as they go along. And because figures like Rogan are trusted by people that don't trust real newsrooms, we have a problem that's much bigger than Spotify, much bigger than any single platform, Kate. But that's what is the heart of this right now.
Yes, because your network is morally preening, and so are you, Brian. Will you hold any self-reflection on why people do not trust you and your network in light of this? Will anyone at CNN do any level of self-reflection on why people would rather trust Joe Rogan than the health departments and desks and operations and editors and fact checkers and opinion vetters who could not keep Jeff Zucker's man parts in his pants? Will any of you do any self-reflection at all in the media about the lack of distrust of the media? And do you know where that distrust comes from? More than anything else, it's that the elite do not believe that you and I can operate like they do. They believe the rules are to contain and constrain us, and they are above the rules. That's what this is about. The sexual harassment rules, the rules on dating colleagues, they're for the peons at the office, not for the CEO. The rules of life, they're for you, not the rich. You know, the rich person can get away with having multiple mama's babies. The rich person can get away with the hedonistic lifestyle, the drugs and the alcohol, the sex, the abortions, the multiple illegitimate children. The rich can do that. The poor person can't. But the poor person sees the rich person and says, well, we're equal. Why can't I behave that way? And the rich person thinks, well, maybe the poor person can, and is perfectly happy to engage in a licentious culture where the poor can't pick up the pieces. But the rich can because they can afford it. The rich and the elite, they impose a moral order that benefits them. It's not an objective moral order. It's not God who says, it's they who say, and no one really cares what they say because we see their life and realize that, you know what, they're no better than us. If anything, we should feel sorry for them. It's like Succession, the HBO show. Succession shows a world of a billionaire family modeled on the Redmonds and the Murdochs and the like, owning media conglomerate, entertainment conglomerate, resorts, cruise ships, and the like. And this is a deeply destabilized family of neuroses, drug addiction, vanities, competition, insecurities. You should feel sorry for them. When they get what they want, they're even more miserable. But they believe that they operate in a way that you and I cannot. They can kill someone and get away with it. You and I couldn't. We've seen this really brought home during the pandemic. Gavin Newsom claims he was sipping his Bud Light. That's why he had his mask off. There were ample pictures coming out of that Rams game in Los Angeles where Gavin Newsom was walking around everywhere without his mask on. He was sitting down without his mask on. He was surrounded by people. He had his mask dangling from his ear. Nobody else even had their masks anywhere near them. You couldn't see them. Oh, no, it was only for a brief moment. No, there were lots of pictures. There was video. You weren't wearing your mask. Leonardo DiCaprio, who flies around the world lecturing people on global warming, hangs out on yachts with Jeff Bezos. He was at that game as well and had his mask down below his chin like a chin diaper. They want you to wear your mask at all times. They never want the servers to take off their masks. I was at a great restaurant last night, my favorite restaurant. It got a little loud in there. There was some woman in there. We were pretty sure that, well, let's just say she was paid to be there. Maybe not, but there was something wrong. She was under the influence of something. She's very loud. She kept interrupting my conversation. She's very rude. I hate to have people try to interject into my conversation when I don't even know them. But at one point, the bartender was trying to talk to my friend and me, and the policy at the restaurant is they've got to keep their masks on. And my buddy couldn't understand what the bartender was saying and asked him to take his mask off. He's like, I can't. Company policy. It's a great company. It's their policy. They want to make their patrons feel safe. And we're in a situation where a lot of restaurants are forced to do that because the elite, the rich who come to the restaurants, they expect the servers to be masked up. They don't want to mask up, but they want the servers to be masked up. It's a class-based society all of a sudden. It is an aristocracy. And Jeff Bezos, or rather Jeff Zucker is one of the leaders in that aristocracy. He was at the Today Show. He rose to prominence at NBC News. He allowed Matt Lauer to get away with his deviancies and knew it. He knew it. He made jokes about it at a roast for Matt Lauer's birthday, and he got a pass because he's Jeff Zucker. And the elite loved Jeff Zucker. And then he went to CNN and let Don Lemon go 24/7 on a missing Malaysian Airliners jet. And everybody was laughing at it. But hey, people were talking about CNN. Any news, any press coverage is good coverage, even if they're ridiculing. People were tuning in to watch Don Lemon beclown himself about speculation of black holes sucking up Malaysian airline jets. Y'all can meditate on that. It was bizarre. And then he turned it into the 24/7 Trump operation, covering Donald Trump nonstop. Gave him lots of free media coverage. Gave him lots of airtime, and then turned on him the moment he was the Republican nominee. Frankenstein's monster to a degree. Turned on Trump began to savage him, and then turned his entire network into an anti-Trump machine where to this day they obsess. They put Jim Acosta in the White House, made him become the star of the show against Trump. He was the brave protagonist of CNN and now has his own show and does such stupid things as claiming that Virginia, with a brand new Republican governor, is now a Soviet-style police state, and Jeff Zucker ate it up. But the ratings have fallen. The chickens have come home to roost, to quote Jeremiah Wright. Had Jeff Zucker managed to continue to get the ratings, the elite would continue to prop him up. They would protect him. They protect their own. They make you mask up. They would protect Jeff Zucker. The elite live in a world and they think the rules don't apply to them. And now suddenly, because the ratings are down, suddenly the rules do apply. And it is something I find deeply humorous and ironic in all of this, that this is just more of the fallout of the Cuomo scandal. The Cuomo scandal continues to bring other people down. And that's a good thing, actually. There should be more accountability. I wonder if CNN will now give up its relentless, silly obsession with Fox News. But at the end of the day, as we realize that the elite, more and more in this country, they really do want a class-based society. They really do want to be an aristocracy. Jeff Zucker wants to be one of the leading opinion leaders and opinion shapers of that aristocracy. He's out because it turns out no one liked his opinions anymore. They were turning off the channel. I wonder, however, and I won't hold my breath on this, will anyone look at this and the incestuous nature of it with the Cuomos and Zucker and this woman who worked for Gullist, her name is, who worked for Cuomo and then went to work for Jeff Zucker and was going to be his heir apparent and was doing Zuckering with Zucker? Will anyone look at any of this at CNN and say, maybe, just maybe, this has something to do with why people would rather watch Fox News than us? Maybe this has something to do with why more people will trust Joe Rogan than the news we broadcast. Will anyone at CNN look at this at all and do a little bit of self-reflection and maybe say, maybe we need to be a little less partisan. Maybe, just maybe, we need to be a little more humble. And maybe, just maybe, we need to recommit to news, not narrative. I won't hold my breath.